If you were to choose one book for the rest of your life and to keep it with you and carry around wherever you go, what book would you choose? Well, for me, it is this book. This book has literally changed my life in many ways. And whenever I feel down, whenever I feel stressed, I take out this book and read 2 or 3 pages and I find the answer for my problem. Well, if you ask, and this book is very famous that it is considered the handbook of Buddhists, right? Now, if you ask, what is the religious book of Christians? You can clearly say it is the Bible. What is the religious book of Muslims? You can clearly say it is Al-Qur'an. And what is the religious book of Judaism? You can say it is Torah. What is the religious book of Hinduism? It is the Bhagavad Gita. Well, if you ask from a Buddhist, what is your religious book? Then they will say, oh, we don't have one book. We have an array of books. There are a lot of books when it comes to religious scriptures in Buddhism. But out of all these religious scriptures books, right, in Buddhism, this book is it is considered the handbook of all the Buddhists. So this book is none other than the Dhammapada itself, right? So Dhammapada has literally changed my life in many ways. So what is Dhammapada? Dhammapada is a set of verses that was preached by the Buddha himself. Now there are 423 verses in this collection and it is divided into 26 chapters, each explaining different kind of topics like happiness, like violence or loving kindness, or about the wise man, about the foolish, or about the Buddha, right? So it contains a lot of verses which explains about the life as well, right? And I would recommend that whenever you feel down, whenever you feel stressed, if you have this Dhammapada book with you, you can take it out and read 2 or 3 pages and I'm pretty sure that you will find the answer for your problem, right? I have heard from a lot of my Hindu friends that they're using the Bhagavad Gita whenever they feel down, then whenever they feel stressed, they take this Bhagavad Gita and they read 2 or 3 pages and they find the answer for their problem. Well, for the Buddhists, in the Buddhist practice, I would highly recommend Dhammapada book to use as the handbook of every person. Dhammapada has a lot of advices and life lessons that they are wonderful. So let's take some time to read 2 or 3 verses and see how wonderful they are. In Dhammapada verse number 103, the Buddha says, though one may conquer 1,000 times 1,000 men in battle, yet he indeed is the noblest victor who conquers himself. So the Buddha says, no matter how much you conquer, no matter how much you battle in the battleground, the most difficult war is to conquer yourself, to win yourself. See how wonderful it is. In the next verse, the Buddha says, self-conquest is far better than the conquest of others. Not even a god, an angel, Mara or Brahma can turn into defeat the victory of such a person who is self-subdued and ever restrained in conduct. So the Dhammapada contains such kind of verses which gives you the inspiration or the motivation, the strength to build up yourself, to focus more into yourself. And also in Dhammapada verse 166, the Buddha says, let one not neglect one's own welfare for the sake of another, however great. Clearly understand one's own welfare. Let one be intent upon the good. So the Buddha says, no matter what happened, first of all, you have to focus on yourself, your own welfare. If you made your own welfare, if you protect yourself, then only you can protect others and help others in the correct way, right? So it helps you to be more self-conscious, more self-focused, and to build up yourself. In verse number 290, the Buddha says, if by renouncing a lesser happiness, one may realize a greater happiness, let the wise man renounce the lesser, having regard for the greater. Now, I find this verse is so important and so inspiring, right? Because for me especially, when I'm living as a monk, sometimes I have found a little bit stressed out, like times where I feel down and stressed out. Right? Then I always think, okay, you're intending a greater happiness. You're going to achieve a greater happiness. Then you must be willing to let go of that lesser happinesses, cheaper happinesses, if you are focused on a greater happiness, right? In the same way, for the normal life, it's the same way, right? If someone is working towards a greater happiness or a greater goal in his life, then he or she has to let go of that cheaper happinesses, that daily cheaper happinesses that keeps that person away from achieving that greater happiness, right? So Dhammapada contains such valuable and inspiring life lessons, advices. So I invite all of you to take this book, buy this book, or maybe find this book and read it, right? So I will link down below all the links that you need to read this book. You may find some PDFs. You may find some online links that I will provide some online links that you can read. And also, if you are willing to buy the book, right? Buy the hard book, I will link down some links for that you can buy the book online, right? So when it comes to Dhammapada, there are lots of translations. But the translations that I would recommend is, the first translation is by Venerable Acharya Buddharakkhita, right? This translation is very good and very precise. It contains very high level of English, but it is very precise, right? And also, there's another translation that I would highly recommend. That is the translation from my teacher, Venerable Kiribati Jnanananda Thero. In this book, you may find all the verses in the most simplest and easy to understand form, right? So if you can buy this book, and these are the two translations that I would recommend for all of you. So I invite all of you to buy or read it online or find PDFs and read these books, read this Dhammapada book, and then you will find a lot of valuable life lessons. So that is all for today. I wish you all, may you be healthy and may you live in peace.